think you're unmuted now.
There. How's that?
Hey, you're perfect. Good morning.
Good morning. I feel so bad. I just walked in from the greenhouse and totally had that lapse of sense of place and time and all of that. So I apologize if I'm
You
late.
don't
I think
have
I
to
am.
apologize at all
Good.
because we've been running through things. So I just I told everybody that you were coming here this morning, but I just want to say again, this is Joe Lample. Many of you probably know him from his TV show, Growing a Greener World. Joe is in Georgia. And he has become a really good friend. He is the home vegetable growing guru. I mean, you all know that those beds that I built last year, I copied from Joe. We call them the Joe beds. And so Joe is just a great resource. And we've asked him here this morning in preparation of his summit that is coming out next weekend, which Jesse is going to share on here the link where you all can sign up. It is a free event that I already signed up, y'all. So you have got to be there. And if you can't be there, Joe, in case I forget to say, you will be sharing the recording, right? So,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So people definitely want to sign up. So what I want to know from Joe here this morning before he tells us about his summit is what's going on in the vegetable garden in Georgia. Tell us a little bit about your growing conditions down there and what you are up to.
Yes. Well, I just came in. I am soaking wet. I came in from moving a lot of my plants out of the greenhouse. I ran out of room in my greenhouse, even as big as it is. Now I know why they always say, you know, whatever greenhouse size you got, it's never big enough. And mine is 2,700 seedlings. I'm using a floor space, but I need to harden stuff off, and it's not getting the sun it needs when it's on the floor, blocked by other plants. So I've been spending the last hour getting all my lower plants out into my beds in my garden, which is a short walk away, but still it's work. And you walk into the sauna of the greenhouse. It's a gorgeous day here in Atlanta. It's so beautiful, and some rain last night. But in the garden, we've got some cool season crops that are going. We got peas and brassicas, and we've got our soil and our flower beds ready to go for the seeds that we're going to sow and the transplants we're going to put in there. But we've had some crazy weather, Lisa. We've had some really cold, below freezing nights recently. And, a lot of our vegetables between the wind and the cold are like, what are you doing to me? So we're struggling with that, but they're making a rebound. But it's crunch time. And, 2 weeks from now, we'll have our plant sale beginning for our warm season crops, mainly our peppers and our tomatoes. And there just are not enough hours in the day right now. So it's all hands on deck. Everything's looking good. Mostly it's warm now, but that can easily change in a day.
Joe, it just doesn't depend on whether you're a commercial grower like I am or a robust, ambitious home gardener with a lot of other business relations to what you grow, or the home gardener just starting out. We were just talking about this. You never have enough space. Right. I mean, I did exactly what you did. I moved out 10 trays, which is 1,000 seedlings, out this morning because I had to bring them in last night because there's no room left in the grow room.
Right.
I mean, no matter what you have, you then fill it up, right?
Yes. So, I don't know how I'm ever going to exercise restraint. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I don't think restraint's necessary. Does that liberate you a little bit? I mean, for me,
yes, because I don't think I'm going to do it. So it doesn't.
The method that we've started to employ here on our farm is we always start. This is our theory. This is the way we justify it. Let's put it that way. We always start twice as much as we have room to plant.
Wow.
And then we plant the strongest. And then we do the best we can to find room to plant the others.
Wow, good.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because, when you're trying to fill up beds, as I know you are, as you guys have been filming for your new upcoming course, you want not one hole in a bed.
Right.
You want it full and voluptuous. And I did that because as a commercial flower farmer, we want every square foot to produce as much as it can. Because I'm an urban farmer. I'm in the middle of the city. I have acres and acres. every foot counts. It kind of is the same for you, but maybe for a different reason. So
Mhm.
I'm all about packing
Yeah.
in as much as we have to. And so what is your last spring frost?
It's sort of April 15th, but, they've moved the calendar earlier, so it's more like the 10th, but you can never trust it completely. You have to look at that
Yeah.
10-day forecast and the shorter term because 2 years ago, we had 28 degrees when the low was forecasted for, 36 on one of those days right around the 15th of April, and so you get that wild card thrown in, and it's like all bets are off. So mid-April is kind of supposed to be the safe date.
That's the same for us. And I remember that year because, that 2 years ago, we lost
Yeah.
all of our peony buds.
Oh,
Peonies are super hardy plants,
yeah.
but that kind of temperature when the buds are developed, and just sitting there waiting to bud. We cut 1,000 stems of peonies. That is a significant,
Ooh, God.
that was quite a hit. So I think the moral to the story, because don't you think that's a huge struggle for new gardeners, whether it's
Oh, yeah.
vegetables or flowers? It's like you're so worried. How do you know what to do? Well, even we don't know to do. But I know for me, I am first thing I do in the morning when I set up, and this is ridiculous, but it's because I'm a commercial farmer. I set up in bed, I grab my phone, and first I look at something business wise, and then I hit the weather app.
Yeah.
I look at the 2-week forecast.
Yeah.
It just keeps me in tune with that. How do you stay prepared for whatever is the unexpected?
It's interesting you say that. I too love my weather apps, and I look at more than one, and I have a nice thermometer in my greenhouse that shows outside temperature and inside temperature, and so I'm always checking. I'm always aware of temperature, what's coming, what's present, where it's headed, where it's been, and, thinking ahead for the next day. Most importantly for me, like when I'm hardening off plants, can I leave them out overnight or do I need to bring them back in? And to the extent that I can leave them out, all the better. But like a day like today, I've got some peppers that have had a little bit of sun exposure damage. Just how it looks a little
Mhm.
bleach when you leave them out a little too long, but it's easy to do when you have a lot of plants and you think it's a gorgeous day. Give them some sun, and they're peppers, right? But they're very sensitive to hardening off. So now I have them all back outside in a big bed, and in an hour when we finish, I'm going to go out there and put 70% row cover or shade cloth over those with my hoops, and that will help me not have to bring them in. But I need to know, what I'm going to be dealing with in the next 24 to 48 hours. So that determines what I have to do the night before or the morning of.
Right. And I mean, being a little bit prepared, like you're talking about the 24 to 48-hour window,
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
ahead, at least you don't wake up in the morning and go, yikes, I should
Yes.
have brought my plants in. I have an alarm that goes off on my phone at like 7:30, and it
Yeah.
just says, what's the temperature?
Huh.
Because like you, with the plant sale, but even business, home gardeners value their plants as much
Mhm.
as commercial people do.
Indeed.
Oh my goodness. To wake up in the morning and realize that you toasted your plants from too cold or, not enough. So, enough chit chat about all this. Joe, tell us about this summit that's coming up this weekend that you are doing, and everybody's available to come to it.
Yeah, they are. It's free. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesday is an introduction, and it's helping people understand the difference between organic and non-organic gardening and growing, and more of a holistic approach to if you want to be an organic gardener. There's certain specific things that you can do or not use to garden organically, but in the bigger picture, which is where I'm coming at it from, is in addition to giving specifics, I want people to understand it as a lifestyle as well, because it's not just how you manage what's in your garden, but the collateral damage and the unintended consequences of
Yes.
what's beyond your garden if you're not thinking bigger picture. So I'm going to help people understand and get their head around that, because I want them in these workshops to really feel like they've got it nailed on the 7 what I call non-negotiables of organic gardening. So we're going to talk about how you manage your pests and diseases, how you utilize your soil and make it better, how you use mulch and your options for that, how you water and how to get the watering amount right. And some other things there with the 7 non-negotiables. And that's on Thursday. On Wednesday, I want people to understand more about how to not only know how to do what you need to do when you're in the garden, but how to prepare. And I always call it, are you a planner or a planter? And so I want people that are following sort of the way that I think about organic gardening to be planners, because that way you set yourself up for what's ahead, Lisa. Like we're just talking about the weather, we're
Mhm.
planning ahead because we know what's coming. Or when it does come, because we've prepared ahead of time, we're not in panic mode.
Exactly.
So that's a big part of what I'm going to be teaching on Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, it's really getting our heads around, why does organic gardening matter? What's the difference? Are plants really more resilient when you've got organically grown seed, or when they've grown organically from the farmer who presented the seed? Things like that. Just beyond maybe what instinctively makes sense to think about. I want people to really be expanding their thought process around the steps and the rationale behind it.
Joe, that was a great explanation, because
Thanks.
one of the common questions that I get asked that I just can't answer in a short answer
Yeah.
is like, so because we don't use pesticides, we don't even use organic pesticides here
Right.
at all.
Right.
And it's like people are like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And it's I can't just answer that with a
Mhm.
short, oh, we do this. It's
Right.
like it is a lifestyle. And that's the way I really describe it also. It's the way that I have the 30,000-foot view.
Yes.
I'm thinking about a lot of different things, but when we restore the natural order and give it a
Yes.
hand instead of, I call it about it. When you want to bicker with Mother Nature by intervening with things that you think are helping, you
Yeah.
break the chain. I mean,
Yeah.
that just makes me think of our friend Doug Tallamy. I
Mhm.
mean, his book changed my farming life 10 years ago or whatever it was, realizing, just thinking of that chain.
Yeah.
And when one link is broken, it affects everything
It
else. And
does.
I mean, if you have not read, y'all, he's got so many great books, but the Bringing Nature Home book by Doug
Mhm.
Tallamy really helps with that. And it takes people, I think, beyond me and Joe as far as landscape plants, native plants, and how to plan your home beyond your vegetable and your flower cutting garden. Anyway, so I just appreciate, I'm excited about your summit, Joe. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that'll
I
be, and I think these are things that can be applied to a cutting garden, a flower garden, a landscape, not just a vegetable
Mhm.
garden.
Correct. In fact, I took the word vegetable out of my description several times throughout the days that I'm talking about what I'm going to be talking about, because I want people to understand, if you have this ethos about wanting to garden with stewardship and organically with the bigger picture in mind, it supersedes, or it overshadows just anything just from in one type of garden. So it's
Right.
applicable across the board. But I love what you said with your, when people say, well, how do you even do it without pesticides? And it's not an easy, quick answer. And so that's why in the workshops we're doing, I'm going to get you well on your way. But even in an hour, it's
Right.
you're barely scratching the surface.
Well, but you get better with time. I mean, here I am 25 years into commercial farming, and I mean, I'm learning. Hey, I learned something from you the other day on our podcast that'll be coming
Funny.
out soon. I mean, y'all have to tune in. Seed Talk has a great podcast coming out with
Yeah.
Joe and Lane and I, and
Mhm.
he shares a killer tip in there that, I mean, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Good.
So I think that's really, really great. And so, Joe, tell us, and what else is the big news that's coming out with you is your new organic vegetable gardening course.
This is big news. It's the biggest project I've ever done in my life, including, producing a television series for 12, 13 years now. Because we put everything on hold, including the show, to film this new course called Organic Vegetable Gardening. And the reason why I wanted to do this for years is because when I was picked to be the host of Fresh from the Garden on the DIY network, it was a brilliant concept. And the show was all about teaching people how to grow food from seed to harvest. And each episode was focused on one particular crop. So one episode was how to grow tomatoes from seed to harvest and care for it and everything that happens along the way. And then another episode would be on beans and another one would be on peas, etc., for 52 episodes. But that was in 2003, 4, and 5, ahead of its time, not organic, and totally scripted. And here we are 20 years later, and I've got this beautiful raised bed organic garden right outside my window. And I want to basically recreate that concept, only way better. So it's something that was gnawing at me every year, Lisa. But with the television show that we were working on for 12 years, I mean, how do you take time away when you put your underwriters on hold and you put everything else on hold?
Yeah.
And stop the funding, stop the revenue stream from coming in that supports all those years of your team and everything else. I turned it all off. And so basically for the last year and a half, I'm working for free and paying my team in the hopes that, we just break even, with this
Right.
new course. But the point is, we filmed for the entire year last year, warm and cool season crops in my garden. And we were able to complete 25 different crop focused videos. And each video is approximately 20 minutes long of the point that we put it into the ground all the way through harvest and whatever came up in between. And we're going to continue to add to each of those videos. Plus we're going to do new crop videos this year because let's face it, in the heat of the moment and everything that's going on, you can't get everything that's happening at the
Yep.
same time when your garden is full. So there's a few gaps in there that we're going to fill this year. So there's that. But I was so happy that we finally committed to it. It was a scary, scary thing to do to tell Subaru we need to put you on hold for a year.
Yeah.
Don't send us your underwriting money and stuff like that. But I feel good about the course. It's amazing. There is not anything else like it. I can say that without a doubt. There's no other course in the world that has allocated this much time and energy and resources and talent to creating this course. So in addition to the grow videos, that's just part of it. The other part is
Yeah.
10 educational modules that go deep into the subjects of organic gardening. So if you really want to understand soil science and how organic nutrients are made available to plants, how does that happen? We're talking about that. So we're going up
Right.
1 to 2 levels on over anything that probably anybody is at right now. So for new gardeners, it's great. For people that have been doing it a while, they're going to learn a lot too. So I'm a little bit excited about it and I have a lot to say, but one more thing, Lisa. We've got masterclass live presentations with the top experts in their field all throughout the year, exclusively for the students in the course. It's not something we're going to put into YouTube or Zoom and make it public or post it
Right.
anywhere. It's private for the students because they deserve this high level education that we've gone out and we've sourced the best people in their field, including you for Cool Season Flowers. And you're one of our experts, and I'm very excited about in the fall. I think it's September, but
Yep.
a lot of unique things, plus access to ask your instructor, moi, and some others, anytime through the year. It's private access for that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of value to that. And there's some wisdom that I have to share that all you got to do is ask.
Yeah, that's great, Joe. I mean, so we're super excited. So if you haven't already signed up for his summit, now is the time, and it starts on Tuesday. That is recorded. So because it's during the day, right, Joe?
Yes, it's at 12 noon Eastern.
Yeah. So if you aren't able to make that, you can sign up and get the recording sent to you so you can watch it.
Yeah,
And I'll be there.
good.
So I hope that everybody will join us. So, Joe, thank you so much for joining us here this morning. And I'm kind of jealous. I'm just now remembering that you just got a brand new greenhouse, of which I have none. And that's really, I mean, I know that'll be a really, really a lot of fun for you and a
It
big
is.
help.
Yes, it's amazing the difference it makes, Lisa. I'm not gonna lie, it's a big difference.
Yeah. I hear you. I
Yeah,
hear you. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. And we'll all see you, I hope, on
good.
Tuesday. So, y'all check out Joe's summit. It is free and full of great information. So,
Wonderful. Yes,
thank you
I'll
so
see you
much.
there. Thanks for having me today.